parties. You are from a political background, that's why I'm asking you, what do you think? Partisan was the right decision at the time of independence?
Well, I've just finished reading a book by a very famous UK military officer, Barney Spooner, and it was about partition. I remember stories from my grandparents about partition. So whilst my grandfather was working in Dum Dum here with the munitions factories, after partition he was offered a very good job in Pakistan to be chief engineer in Pakistan munitions. So my grandmother and grandfather and some of my family did move at partition. I remember them telling me horror stories about the violence, about what was happening across different religious groups during partition. I also have read more about that and learned more of it since I've been here reading this brilliant book. So, if I'm honest, there are different conclusions that people make about whether or not it was right for partition. Some of the Indian politicians thought it was right, some of them thought it was wrong. From what I have learned, I think the British probably rushed the process. I think the process, from what I have learned, could have probably been considered a little bit more. But I equally understand the pressure from India for independence, and post-war Britain was a very, very tough place. So I understand why the British government wanted to see partition. From what I have learnt in history, I think independence should probably have come sooner. And I'm talking now as a British guy with a lot of Indian heritage. But I think my grandparents would have said the same. His independence was probably 10 to 15 years later than it should have been. There was something called a world war that took place. And like lots of things, if you don't have conflict, things may have been different. The whole process of creating both a West Pakistan and an East Pakistan, and I am old enough to remember East Pakistan, though I was only a boy, and Bangladesh being formed. Even then, and I remember my grandparents saying the same, I remember them saying it would be very difficult if you had West Pakistan and then you try to have on the other side of the country something called East Pakistan where they are meant to be connected. They always said it's not going to work, it's not practical. And both East and West Pakistan have different challenges. So my grandparents always felt that to have them as two parts of the same country was difficult. The debate about whether or not a Muslim country should have been created is not something I think I am in any way qualified to discuss. I think that is more important for you guys. But I recognise the challenges that Bangladesh face, given both their physical and geographical position, and in some senses, the fact that they were not blessed at partition with some of the infrastructure, some of the industry, and some of the opportunities that any nation needs to be able to have a successful economy. Today I read more because I'm here about the challenges facing Bangladesh today and the cross-religious problems, which to be honest are not something I'm reading on the UK media. They are things I'm learning because I happen to be in West Bengal today. So I think those challenges that are being faced both by Bangladesh and West Bengal and those difficulties are something the world may not be fully aware of. And I think there is perhaps a role, and I'm looking to you with your journalist hats on, to try to bring the world more up to date with those particular challenges that are facing the Hindus with Bangladesh. I don't pretend in any way to be an authority on anything in terms of at all to do with Bangladesh. I'm just reading and learning these things as I'm here. Beg your pardon?
Any message to Indian people
Yes.
or Bengali people? Because you love Bengal much. From your side to get a better livelihood.
Firstly, my message is the same whenever I speak to people, is please respect and learn and appreciate your culture. Because that is so important. I said earlier, culture in West Bengal is vibrant, but we need everybody to understand that. But then to take your point about futures, I'll say the same as I've just said about the UK. We need to educate everybody from a young age. So for me, that is the key. It was the same when I was in Tanzania. I was volunteering at a preschool, and it was a charity because the government was not providing that early education. At the ashram I'm involved in, they have a school in Baboon, where they created a school through CSR to provide levels of education that are not being provided unless it was for these charities. So my message is education and education.
Education for all.
That is a phrase used by a previous Prime Minister. Education for all. And this needs to be both in the cities but also in the rural communities. And I know you guys believe in this in your association. When we say education for all, that is vital, that we ensure that every young woman is getting that education as well. I know firsthand about stories where people do not value education for their children, and sadly, too often, education for their daughters. We must empower everybody, boys and girls, to learn the right values, to love their culture, but also for West Bengal to provide the opportunities for everybody to have a future and to succeed.
Anything you want to add this? Anything?
Oh, well, I would sit here and talk for hours about why I think this is a remarkable region. One of the things I think we all need to do, and I'm looking to you as journalists, is to share the messages about West Bengal, about its wonderful diversity and opportunity, but also about the NGOs. I'm so fortunate to be working with this incredible NGO in Pansy and in Baboon, and I know you as an association are doing incredible work where you are providing these vital links, these vital needs. So I think my last part is whether you're journalists, whether you're politicians, whether you're visitors, whether you are the West Bengali government or the regional government, or every individual, stand up and be proud of West Bengal. Stand up and be proud of everything it does, but tell people about it.